Hello everybody, welcome to Daddy's Home Cooking. Today we're going to be making some homemade hamburger buns. So we are going to need several things. We're going to need flour, egg, yeast, sugar, a little bit of sugar, some salt, and then we'll do the glaze. So let's go ahead and start with a bowl. We're going to go ahead and add the yeast to the water. And you want to use warm water to activate this yeast. I used actually a 1 cup of warm water, and then I also added just 1 envelope of active dry yeast. You're going to mix that, and you're just going to let it sit at for about, I would say about 5 minutes or so, just to get it to activate. All right, we're going to push this bowl out of the way. We're going to be using 3 tablespoons of melted butter. You can use any butter. I used just Imperial, so that's all I used. Nothing special. Now that our yeast has kind of grown a little bit, we're going to go ahead and start mixing our ingredients to add into it. Right now I've got the melted butter. And then I'm going to add a little bit of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And then our next one is going to be the sugar, which would be, I think I used 2 tablespoons of sugar. We're going to mix that up really, really well before adding it in there so that it gets, dissolved, all that sugar and the salt. And then we'll just add it to the yeast mixture. Okay, now that we got that added, we're going to go ahead and take an egg, blend it up really well. You're going to need 1 egg, and then go ahead and dump it into the yeast mixture as well once you get it mixed up really well. All right, now we're going to be adding in 3 cups of flour. You want to at least do 3.5 cups of flour. Go ahead and mix that really well. We will eventually take it out and put it on a floured surface so that we can kind of knead the dough. And you may need to add extra flour to this, which for me, I am going to need to add more flour. Okay, so now that I've got it out on a floured surface, I'm just going to work the dough a little bit. I don't want to add too much flour, but I don't want my dough sticky or like a sweaty feel. So just keep kneading until you get the right consistency. All right, now that we got the dough done, this is how the dough should look, just like that. All right, now we're going to go ahead and oil our bowl and make sure it's well coated. I'm going to add a little bit more just so that I can coat it really well. I mean, you don't want the grease like laying down in the bowl. Just coat it to where we can have that dough rise the right way. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just play it down in there. Then we're going to flip it over and coat the other side and just leave it like that. And then we're just going to let it sit until it has doubled in size. So we'll be right back. And make sure you cover it and just set it in a humid, warm place. Okay? All right, so now that our dough has sat for about an hour and it has doubled, I'm going to go ahead and take it out onto the surface here, and then we're going to cut it in like halves and cut it into smaller loaves as well. So just keep doing this, what I'm doing right here. Then we're going to take a little piece of it, kind of make it into a ball, and just kind of form it little, because remember, these are little hamburger bun sliders, okay? They're not the big ones. These are the smaller ones for your sliders. Okay, and if you need to wet your hands a little bit, so it's not as sticky, you can definitely do that. Um, you can also add a little bit of flour to your hands, like dust them, but I think I used a little bit of water. And just keep forming your buns until you get them all done, okay? Alright guys, so we're done forming our hamburger buns. This is where you can kind of be creative. You can add sesame seeds, you can add bagel seasoning. I'm only going to be doing butter and garlic powder and Italian seasoning on top of mine for my sliders that we're making today. And then I'm just going to bake them as well. So right now, actually for my base for this glaze is going to be the 1 beaten egg and 1 teaspoon of water, and you just baste those before you bake them. Alright, I am going to add, I decided I'm going to go ahead and do my garlic powder and my Italian seasonings before I do bake them. I think it would turn out really good. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to put them in the oven at 375 and let them bake until they get nice and golden. And then whenever we get done, that's when I will add my buttery season on top of those, like baste them with some butter. But they look beautiful. They look really, really good. Look at that. And then with that butter, the melted butter, it brings out a more of a shine to your hamburger buns. Alright guys, don't forget to check out Death Elite 1255. He's got some great cooking channels. He's also got the recipe for the hamburger sliders. Enjoy, have a great night.